Welcome to Mimo in Andorra,
where two guys talk about
football
nonsense
and everything else in between. With your hosts, Travis and Ricky.
Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're here. The World Cup has started. We are a third of the way through. Well, just over a third, isn't it?
Just over a third of the way through.
It's finished.
Played the first two games of the second set of games.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
The Switzerland-Bosnia game just finished.
Yeah.
Earlier tonight, there was
Did you watch it all?
I got to see the second half, or a bit of the second half.
It looked like it was going to be a 0-0 at one point, and then the sending off kind of killed it, didn't it?
Yeah, it did kill it. Yeah, I had a draw as well. That was gutting. Yeah, annoyed about
that.
Yeah, well, I had 2 all, so it weren't. I thought there'd be goals, but not like that. I thought there'd be goals at both ends. That's a shame. But yeah, no. So lots happened in this third of the tournament so far. Lots to catch up on. And
third of the group stage. The third of the group stage.
Third of the group stage.
Yes, lots have happened.
Big moments.
Pardon?
Big moments as well so far.
Big moments, unless you're Portugal or Spain.
That's a big moment.
Yeah, like it's been insane, hasn't it? Really, like so tonight, just on that tonight, I'm settling in to sleep downstairs on the sofa as I've been doing for some days. Basically, whenever there's a big game at night, I just pack myself away and sleep downstairs on the sofa and leave my wife to it upstairs. I really want to watch Mexico again because I thought it was a pretty cool atmosphere. Like a true nutter, I'm going to get up at is it 2 a.m. this morning and watch Mexico maybe? Or 3 a.m.?
And it's Estadio Chivas, isn't it?
Is it not at the Azteca today? Oh, okay.
No.
Chivas, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's only 3 games at the Azteca the whole tournament.
Okay.
And
fine.
I don't think any are in the knockout stages, so I don't think any.
What?
Which is really disappointing.
No way.
Yeah, I think there was I saw something about it anyway, but it's a shame it's not holding the final. Obviously, that would have been amazing, but yeah, I think it's the best.
I knew it wasn't doing the final, but unbelievable, mad.
Yeah, there's not many there at all.
Yeah,
but yeah, no,
we'll probably come on to some of the quirks of the tournament that we've noticed so far as well. But
settling in for that game, that's the thing. You're making commitments in there for what you're having to pick and choose this tournament because
which is really annoying.
Hard.
This is and that is not an option that I normally go for, as you know. The only way to watch a World Cup in my books is to watch every game and properly get a feel for there are some teams at this World Cup that I haven't seen play yet, which is really, really disappointing to me. I haven't actually seen America play because I chose not to watch their game the other day because I was knackered and I was like, if I'm going to miss one game, I'd rather miss their game. And I tactically slept that night so that I could watch Brazil-Morocco and then Scotland-Haiti the following night. And I fell asleep during Scotland-Haiti anyway. I missed it. And in the end, ended up waking up for Turkey-Australia later on that day or that morning. So I'm all over the place, man. I'm genuinely just all over the place.
See, for the listeners at home, we've got a 9-week-old baby. So everyone's been like, oh, that must be amazing. It must be handy for you with the night feeds and stuff like that. But if anything, you're like, you see in the scores, you put in some of the games on if you're up at 2:00 to do a night feed, but you're so not with it. Like, it's just hard to take it in. I think we had the Scotland game on just to try and watch it, and it was so hard to keep an eye on at that time in the morning. So it's been really hard to pick and choose. I did the opposite actually with the USA game. We watched the USA game. And then we watched the Scotland game, but didn't make all the Brazil game, which was a pain. That was
you missed Brazil for you. No, that was never going to happen. Forward planning. That's why I did that with Argentina the other day as well. I was like, right, I'm not going to watch Norway. So I was like, right, I'm not going to watch Norway, Iraq because I want to watch Argentina. So I went to bed. Literally, as soon as my son went to bed at 10 p.m, I was like, right, into bed, fall asleep, because I can barely stay awake at the moment. I fell asleep straight away. And then I set a quiet alarm. So I basically set my alarm so it's not as loud, because obviously we don't want to wake the missus up. And then off the back of that alarm, just got up, went downstairs, put Argentina on, dozed during it anyway. So like I basically just kept waking up every time the commentator went Messi, and and I managed to catch every goal like as they happened. But that was fine. That was fine because obviously he didn't just have the shots for the goals; he had like other chances as well. So like it was kind of keeping me awake. But there was a bit in the middle where I completely fell asleep. I remember like it was like maybe it was 1-0 and it was 1-0 and it was coming up to half time, and then I opened my eyes again and it was like 56 minutes or something like that. I was like, oh, okay, I've slept for the whole of half time and 10 minutes into the second half now. And then just as I did that, he scored the second one. So I was like, oh, fair enough. And I actually woke up feeling really refreshed after that. So I was like, oh, this is probably the way to do it. Sleep through bits of it.
Not a bad time to miss in a game as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, it started, there's some, in terms of moments of the first round so far, there's obviously 48 teams this year, the first time that's happened. So people thought, is this going to just create a load of rubbish games? Actually, some of the smaller nations have competed really well, which has added to it, really, if anything, and just made it more interesting. They've held their own. I think we had a quick chat about this offline, in a sense of how much they are just taking it for the moment and going for it. Going for the jugular, if you like. So, obviously, a couple of shocks. In the biggest one is probably Spain. There's got to be.
Probably. I mean,
I've got Cape Verde?
I did call Cape Verde because I said they're good. They're better than a lot of people gave them credit for. Because, like I said, they almost qualified for 2022. I remember at the time, but they just missed out. Like, because obviously with less teams. If 2022 had been 48 teams that had qualified, because they literally just missed out in like the last bit of it. So I did call that. They're up and down. They're like a typical international side, like we've talked about all along. Like they've got good, strong players, and then they've got like a random player that plays in, like, they sent about this in the League of Ireland, and you're like, well, that's the reason why they can't compete with sort of like the larger nations that have got like more consistent players playing top flight football or whatever in Europe. But to another point that we've made earlier in this series, whatever you want to call it, you have smaller nations now that are just set up to play properly. Do you know what I mean? Like, I always say this is kind of a cliche, but it's true though. Nobody turns up like they did 20 years ago and goes, right, we're going to play 4-4-2 against Argentina and hope for the best. Like, no one does that. Now it's like, right, okay, we know that we can't win this game this way, so we're going to do like a low block. And trust me, guys, this isn't a tactical forum, so don't worry, or forum or podcast, so don't worry, we're not going to go into great detail on that stuff. But like, we're going to do a low block, and we're just going to soak the pressure, try and catch these guys on the counter. We will run the clock down. We'll do whatever we can to try and upset this game. And it worked for Cape Verde the other day, didn't it? And on top of that, obviously, Spain were absolutely atrocious, and well, not atrocious, but wasteful in front of goal. That bit where Ferran Torres misses the open goal and then the keeper, that was brilliant. And all the memes that have gone round off the back of it. But I was going to say, on the subject of upsets, I don't know whether you saw this one. I'm just seeing it on the TV now. I've got ITV on in the background. So if my eyes glance up there, it's because ITV's on.
Yeah, same.
Qatar against Switzerland was a bit of an upset as well, right? Like, that cost me. So I'm in a last man stands at work as well. And they were like, right, it's a World Cup when you've got to pick your team. And I was like, right, Switzerland, easy money. They will beat Qatar. And they spent 90 minutes playing Qatar, and Qatar looked like me and my mates had turned up to play them. And then in the last minute, they score a header and equalise. And I was like, oh. And that was partially Switzerland being wasteful. Without going into a bit of what they did today, but I thought they were quite wasteful today as well. I think Switzerland are they will always struggle to beat anyone half decent, because I think they're on a cutting edge going forward.
We were saying this when we watched the Switzerland game here at home. We were like, they were playing really well, but that final third, it was just wasteful. They just couldn't.
It was a wrong decision,
anything.
Isn't it?
Yeah, always. It's like there was a few times they should have gone right, they went left. They should have gone left, they've gone right, or they just weren't shooting, and it just it was complete indecision. And it was like, come on, do you know what's going to happen? We called it. We were like, I think I said it here. It's like the Qatar are just going to go and get a goal now, because in the last 10 minutes they had nothing to lose. They were like, we're going to just go for it. And we all know what it's like in the Premier League. The last 10 minutes against a team like that, they will just suddenly put the pressure on you.
And people naturally sit back as well, right, and drop and invite pressure sometimes.
No, go on. I was just going to say, no, exactly that. I was just going to say, Switzerland then looked like they didn't have an answer. They were like, we're just going to sit back and write this out for the point.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, did you see Curacao? I'm sure you saw it. Did you watch Curacao, Germany?
I watched. Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
absolutely killed my prediction of 7-0. I knew they were going to get 7. I said
You
it.
had 7.
I had 7-0. Down as my prediction. And they killed me by scoring. Because I thought to myself, you know why? Because I thought to myself, Germany are ruthless enough to score 7 goals. Because lots of teams give up after they've gotten a few. Do you know what I mean? They kind of take their foot off the gas. I was like, Germany are ruthless enough to carry on, get 7. But I didn't think Curacao would get anywhere near their goal.
Good goal as well. Like they didn't play too badly up until that point. I thought, like, and that's the thing. They weren't holding their own, but they were doing okay. But you just knew once Germany turned it on, it was always going to go one way. But it was a really good game, I thought, and it was. I think for those people who haven't been watching Germany or seeing much of Germany, it was like nothing had changed. It was like, yeah, that's what we expect of Germany. So I think it's given people a sort of view of their favourites.
Like a false sense of their superiority.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yeah, definitely.
They're not that
Don't
good.
get me wrong, they're a good team. There's talent, but whether they'll go the distance, no, I think there's too much in the tournament.
I don't think so, yeah. I think it'd be interesting if we played Curacao off the back of our, like if we played, like obviously I know we played well last night, but like if we played Curacao, I reckon we get 10. Like honestly, or Norway. Yeah, Norway, Curacao would see a true, as we've said in our build-up shows, like Norway don't chill out on anyone, so especially Haaland. So I reckon they get double figures against Curacao. We'd get our bloodbath. We won't get that now because I don't think Ecuador will do that. I was very shocked actually. Another shock: Ecuador getting beaten by the Ivory Coast in the last minute. I didn't have that down. I had I had Ecuador to win that game because I think Ecuador qualified very well. The thing to address as well, actually, on sorry to go back a bit, just on the Ecuador thing. Obviously, Carlos and I have done. We've got 2 pods in draft at the moment, guys. We've got one on the adverts that I've not even half. I've done about 75% of the editing on it, but I've edited like clips into it because you can't edit live clips. So I've got stills that kind of reflect what we're talking about, which is absolutely painstaking. As a result, I've not gotten through because like the World Cup just started and was on me, but that can probably come out at any point. But probably it's a bit redundant now. Carlos and I did a preview episode where we talked about squads and they'd been called up and so on. Probably a bit late for that now, but I hadn't even gotten around to it in that. This is going to come out. This is to be edited and come out, so we'll do this as the
squads is a bonus.
Tactical.
It can be our bonus episodes. People can go back and listen to. Yeah, definitely. And I had Ecuador in that one. That's funny enough. Yeah, I had Ecuador 2-1 against Ivory Coast.
I thought they were good. I thought they would do them, but they just kind of messed that up. What other ones were a bit of a shock? Scotland did the bit. Do you know what's a shock for me? USA, Paraguay. I didn't think they'd beat Paraguay 4-1. I didn't think they'd beat Paraguay, let alone beat them 4-1.
I was going to say it's the conviction of it, isn't it? I don't think anyone would have thought ever it would have been 4-1. Yeah, no, that was a great shock actually, and it was a good game as well. Actually, it wasn't a bad game at all to watch.
Yeah, I missed it, so obviously, but yeah,
it's great. So I think it's given those Americans who probably ain't used to watching football another great sense of actually what they're capable of. But
I think they all think they're going to win it now as well, don't they?
That's it. You can just imagine they definitely saw the score. They just see numbers, won't they, and just be like, yeah, they've scored 4 goals. There's only a few teams who can do that.
USA.
The chance has been amazing. Yeah, no, there was that one. I think with I think for some people, it's interesting talking to people about this actually, because I think we both said it before the tournament, and Carlos as well, when we spoke about Brazil and how they're playing. Or not playing at the moment, and everyone I've been speaking to, like, oh my god, like what happened? Like, how did that happen? How did Brazil not beat Morocco? And you're
I was so gutted when Vinicius scored because I was like, this is justified. This is my call for everyone. I told everyone that Brazil were going to be rubbish, and until he scored, I think they got booed off. I'm pretty certain the crowd were booing at half time. Like they were like, I know he scored just before half time, but like he changed the momentum of the game by doing that. Because had he not scored, that goes on to be like 2-3-0. Because Morocco were just all over them; they couldn't live with it. And obviously they had to take. I loved it. They had to take Casemiro off, and then there's loads of memes going around that they took Casemiro off and put on Fabinho. Just replaced one old guy with another old guy, and just carried on getting overrun in midfield. Like,
I've seen the same meme for yesterday's Croatia game with Modric and Kovacic coming on.
Yeah, one for the other. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was the same thing with that. Yeah, I've seen the same meme. Yeah, that was ridiculous. Yeah, I mean,
they're so bad. They're just rubbish.
Yeah.
They ain't. They're just Brazil. It's like everyone. You know what it is? It's like Man United. People look at them and they go, "Oh, it's Man United. They'll win." And you're like, "No." If you look at the players they have and the way they're playing, they're not going to win. They're not going to win this game. And Brazil are the same. Brazil, the issue, not the issue, but they're lucky now because they played their hardest game, I think, of the group. So I think, unfortunately, Scotland. I know they're playing Haiti next, but they'll win the Haiti game probably. If they don't win the Haiti game, there's some serious problems there. And then they will beat Scotland next Wednesday, I think it is. Wednesday?
Yeah.
Because I'm away.
Wednesday
I'm in Scotland
morning,
next Scotland. Next Wednesday, I'm in Scotland for the Scotland game with work. So that'll be an interesting one. But I think they'll win both those games, and everyone will go, "Oh yeah, Brazil are here," and think it's like samba superstars on the beach or whatever. But actually, they're rubbish. They're so rubbish.
It's a similar thing, isn't it? If Brazil would play Carousel, they would have put a few goals behind him, and everyone would have gone, "Oh, here we go." Yeah, it's definitely that. I think they've been found out.
Masked it, isn't it?
Yeah, and it makes that group so much more interesting because we all know what Scotland can do on a day.
Scotland are top.
Thing. Yeah, it's
Scotland the top of the group. Yeah, I know. I didn't even think of that, but they're top.
Scotland singing "We Are Top of the League." It's their fans are just one of the side quests of the tournament, but it's just hilarious to follow and watch. It's been brilliant. But yeah, no, I think that was definitely one of mine in the sense of what that means to the group, what it is, and just everyone else's reaction. I think is interesting. We have to mention it because we've mentioned loads in the build-up, but talking about old players, Dr. Congo.
Yes.
Drawing with Portugal.
Yes.
I think, again, a lot of people would have just assumed the names linked to Portugal, they would have scored at least 2 or 3 goals.
Do you know what? Yes. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. A lot of people would assume that Portugal would steamroller them, and both of us, are wise enough to kind of understand that Portugal aren't very good, especially when they play a 41-year-old who just walks around up front and doesn't pass. However, I still thought that they would be good enough to win it 1-0 as well. I thought they would win 1-0. I didn't think they were going to be that Dr. Congo would equalise and have some chances, man. Like they weren't even like they just equalised. Like they could have won it. There's a couple of times where they made the wrong decision in the final third, and I was at football training, at my boys' football training with my phone on iPlayer watching it, and was like, Jesus, man, they're rubbish. But I'm not. I remember Euro 2024, and they went out to Slovenia. Like someone was it on penalties, and Ronaldo was terrible. And it's 2 years later, so he's just gotten older. He's not getting younger. And they decided, all right, we'll still want to play him. That man, someone that the Portuguese FA has to be like, look, man, like you can't play. Like, I'm really sorry. You are, I don't know, maybe you can argue maybe Eusebio, Figo is comparable, but you're probably our greatest player ever, right? That's fine. No one's going to change that. Because you know what's going to happen? If he carries on, he's going to build a reputation for himself as being this like guy that's washed up. And people are going to forget about how good he was. I feel like people are already starting to do that a little bit. Because he's not, he's rubbish.
Was it die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain? It's
what
literally.
That is the Ronaldo quote, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. It really is. And I think that's the thing it's one of those things, especially international football, where it does not breed well in the camp. They'll turn from the youngsters looking up to him to being resentful and being like, I need my chance. And the coach will lose his power if he doesn't start having that conversation with him, because it's like,
is it Roberto Martinez?
And it's Roberto Martinez as well, isn't it? And you don't see much. He's not really got the profile to really go up against
the same age, isn't he? Really. Ronaldo's probably older.
He's got to be, and he's 40, 41, is he? Oh, yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
Martinez is probably like early 50s and Ronaldo's like 41, yeah. But like, it's mad. I don't know what like, I just look at it and I'm like, how does Ronaldo think that that's good? Surely something in his brain goes, do you know what? I'm damaging my country. Doesn't he want to watch his country do well at a tournament?
Interesting. I was watching Patrick Vieira talk about this on The Rest is Football this morning, and they were talking about exactly this. Like, someone needs to have that conversation, and he was like, "But the problem is, if someone has that conversation with him, he's one of those elite players and elite people that it just does not compute." He was like, in his mind, he's Cristiano Ronaldo, and
he can overcome it. Basically, he's thinking, like, I can overcome the doubters, I can turn it around. Yes. Okay, for context, 10 years ago, he was 31. And I know that obviously football has changed, but if you imagine it in like the terms of, say, FIFA, on FIFA, that's when your stats start to go down if you're playing like a career mode, isn't it? At like 30, 31, right? 10 years ago, he was an older, he wasn't washed up by any means, and he was good and everything. But he was then, 10 years ago, we'd have started to been like, oh, is this the end of Ronaldo's career? Is he coming to the end? You know what I mean? Like, is he on the down now? Has he peaked? And we're now talking about a man still being here 10 years on. He's just walking around. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw him. I know he scored a goal in qualifying. I think I've seen him score goals in the Nations League in qualifying. When was the last time you saw him score a meaningful goal in open play for Portugal?
It was an interesting... So there is a stat. He hasn't scored in a tournament for 10 games now.
Yeah.
So and they're playing him as their main player, main striker in that sense. Like
Exactly.
He hasn't scored for Portugal in 10 tournament games.
Mate, what other country would play a guy up front? Not my mic, I'm so annoyed. What other country would play a guy up front for 10 games who hasn't scored and he wouldn't get dropped?
And in that time,
anywhere else.
You're also scoring goals, but he's in the Saudi league. He's scoring goals in the Saudi league. Like, yes, England have taken Tony, but he's not our main striker. Like,
yes, exactly.
It's ridiculous. We'll come on to big name players later and where they're coming in the tournament. But I think this is definitely something that's costing Portugal at the moment. They need to address it, and thankfully something like this has happened. I think on a scale where everyone's talking about it in that first game for them, because I think if it had gone the opposite way and he got a goal and they won 1.
Yeah,
it would have gone on. It would have hidden. Yeah, it would have masked it. So they've got an opportunity still. So let's get something. What's your best game you've seen so far?
What a shout! My brain. I'm probably too tired to remember now. Brazil-Morocco was great. I loved that because of the vindication. Plus Morocco were just great in that first half. I know everyone talks about Japan-Netherlands was also a good game.
Yeah, I liked that game. Yeah, I liked it.
That was a really good game. Probably Brazil-Morocco. There was another one. There's got to be another one that I remember thinking, God, this is a good game, but I can't think of it now. They're all just like a blur of sleep, being really tired, and yeah. No, I say Brazil-Morocco. What about you?
The game I enjoyed watching the New Zealand game.
Oh, I missed that. But again, it was another one I tactically swerved and then saw the highlights of it.
Yeah, that one I really enjoyed watching. Because I thought New Zealand played quite good football.
Do you know what the beauty of that game? Just on that, sorry, before you move on, is two things, right? So, like, that game, I always talk about, there was a game in 2006, Tunisia versus Saudi Arabia, right? And I remember literally going home from work, because obviously 2006 is in the middle of the day, which is good, and being like, it's Tunisia versus Saudi Arabia tonight. And it ended up being a great game because both teams are so bad, they just make mistakes. And that was a bit of that. You had a bit of that in that New Zealand game. And the thing about the New Zealand game as well, it was played at such a slow pace. My God, there's a goal. I think one of the goals, I think the second one that Chris Wood lays onto the guy.
When he brings it down, he has all the time in the world. It's literally the standout moment in that game for me, because it's like he has all the time in the world. No one's around him. He's given that much space. If that happened, like no team can give him that amount of space and time in the Premiership.
He's not doing that against anyone half decent. Yeah.
No.
It's just
he was having the time of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good game.
It made it great. It made it great, though, because both teams just were like, we're below average and we're just going to play. And you got a good game out of it. That was a good game, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was one of the ones we, again, like you say, one of the ones you think is not going to be great, but is actually a decent watch in that respect. And then for me, I was
going to say, did you see any of Tunisia, Sweden? I missed it, but I don't know if
you only saw the highlights of that one.
Ah,
yeah, you saw the highlights of that one. I didn't know if it was, obviously you only see, because of the amount of goals, most of the highlights were just the goals.
Yes.
It was hard to get a read on the game. Yeah, so I didn't know what that one quite was like.
Do you know, I watched the other day that was quite a weird, Australia, Turkey.
Yeah.
You want to talk about upsets, right? Like, again, goalie was man of the match that day, right? They absolutely peppered them for 90 minutes, and then Australia caught them on the break. I think they caught them on the break 3 times and scored twice.
They had 28 shots, Turkey.
And they've got a graph, that weird wave graph that looks like, and it talks about the momentum of the game.
Yeah.
Have you seen that thing? Yeah. It's all red. Yeah. There's like a tiny yellow spike in it. It's all red. Because they were just, they absolutely peppered them.
It was interesting, just looking at it. Australia did 273 passes with 75% accuracy. Turkey had 679 passes with 91% accuracy.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, they absolutely peppered them.
So
The
their
goalie made tons of
accuracy was
saves.
almost what was way more than the amount they did.
Yeah. But, you know, ultimately, the thing that counts is how many you score, right?
That's it. That's it.
Well
that's the one that
executed
matters.
game plan.
Yeah, great game so far. We'll come on to England in a bit. Any statements? Do you think any big statements? Obviously, it's easy to read into the 7-1, but in terms of, do you think anyone's put down a real marker so far? France. Second half.
France. I was going to say, do you know, France put down a statement. Do you know why? Because the first half, myself and probably everybody else watching was like, these guys aren't even that good. Senegal are like running this game a little bit, and France same thing. And France just switched it up from the moment. So did England as well. I have to say, like, so I can't overlook us. Both of us in the second half, France and England just went, nah, we're better than you. And just came out and just upped the tempo that little bit. And both teams, who are both decent teams as well, Croatia are a decent team, Senegal are a decent team, both teams couldn't live with it. They could not live with that change in intensity. And I don't think you look at like other teams, I don't think there's been another team that you could say has been as effective as that. Argentina, I watched Argentina, Algeria, as I said, in between like kind of like sleeping and stuff. It was so Messi scored the hat-trick, and again, like I saw a post saying like, oh, everyone tuned in for a hate watch and instead got to see the GOAT score a hat-trick. And I didn't tune in for a hate watch, but I did think that Argentina weren't going to beat them 3-0. I was like, I'm not sure. I don't think you'll beat them 3-0. You know, and also I wasn't even sure whether Messi. I haven't seen Messi play a competitive match for about 2-3 years. I've not seen the guy, like, so I didn't even know what to expect. I wasn't even sure if he was going to start. And I remember asking Carlos a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, is he even going to play? I don't know. It comes on, the first goal, he'd obviously scored an offside one as well, like about 10 minutes before that, which woke me up. And then obviously he then scores that with the first one, which is kind of like the ball moves and kind of like you look at it from behind the goal and you're like, oh, actually does it with a different ball. Maybe the keeper does save it. But then like just the sharpness, man. That was a bit of a statement in that, like, he just looked sharp, and he didn't look 39 or whatever he is. Like, he didn't look like Ronaldo does. He's moving and passing the ball.
Interesting, and you hear him talk about where he is now in terms of Miami, and they say he's still the first and last in the training ground. He's there setting an example for everyone still. So it is interesting to see. I think, like you say, there's maybe a difference in caliber in terms of the team that Argentina were playing in Algeria compared to the France, Senegal, England, Croatia. In terms of those games. And I think, like, again, like I mentioned to you, like, you know, usually first game World Cup matches, the bigger teams, they do sort of work their way into it. It's not always glamorous in that respect. They're tired. A lot of their players have played a lot of games, especially this year for those two countries as well. Spain as well, to be fair to them. But I think you're right. The difference was they've recognised that they're not resting on their laurels this World Cup. Neither of them are being like, no, you know what? We know we can change this and we're going to change this. And they just went for it.
Yeah. And it'd be interesting, you know, they obviously came out, the England players all came out and talked about Tuchel's half-time speech. And I'd be really, obviously no one will ever know what was said, but it'd be really interesting to understand what was said. Like, you know, because like, did he just say to him, look, like, just put it in for like, I think there was actually, there was an inclination, wasn't there? Someone said that he said something along the lines of like, if you lose trying or whatever, or going for it, then fair enough. Let's lose going for it, or something along those words to that
Rice
effect.
said it, didn't he? Yeah, Rice said it, and then Tuchel said it in another interview he did, where he was like,
exactly.
he said, I just said if we're going to lose, we lose on our terms. He said the second goal, we had 7 people defending, standing off the ball, and they still scored. So he was like, so why are we putting 7 people behind the ball? Play our game. If they score, they score, but we play our game. I can imagine it was probably said in a lot different tone than that, but yeah, no, it's interesting to say. But yeah, Kane, Rice both mentioned it in their post game. Interesting, the interview with the assistant manager at half time in that game as well.
Yeah, that
he
was weird.
Fuming. Yeah, I'm not seen that, and
I've
he
never
was
seen
visibly
that.
fuming as well.
Yeah. It's like when Fergie used to send his assistants to do the BBC because he didn't like them, but like randomly at half time. And I know obviously we always do half time interviews, but like it was a really weird. I haven't seen any. Like I think did Odegaard do a half time? Someone did it at half time. Am I imagining that? Did that happen in the Premier League?
Yes, they in the Premier League they had to this year, didn't they? They all got.
Yeah, and I thought they had to do it in the World Cup. I don't know. It's all blurring into one now. I'm so tired.
I did see a couple of times where Odegaard did it. Oh, and the managers as well. I saw Arteta do one at half time, but you could see none of them are sort of pleased about it in that sense.
Yeah, of course. But you're just taking away from someone being able to actually give some tactical analysis or tactical insight to their players, and kind of impart some additional tactics and on what's going on in the game.
Moving on, we've spoke about the tournament so far, big moments, what's happened. We've talked about USA in terms of their win and how we liked it. What about the other two hosts in terms of Mexico and Canada? How do we think about them?
Love the Mexico game. Think that South Africa were terrible. I think the occasion was great for the Mexico game. Like, do you know what I mean? That Raw, when he scored their first goal, it was like, it went absolutely, and I loved that. And they played their little, like, I don't even know what that, So, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about this. I don't want to spoil it, but like goal music, right? The only time I think goal music is acceptable is in a major tournament. Like, I don't do in league games, in domestic football. If you play goal music or club football, you play goal music, you're two bob, and that even includes Bayern Munich with their that's rubbish. Not having it. And you know what? The one I really hate as well for goal music, when and it was here on like the last game on Match of the Day when like Bolton used to be on there or whatever. It'd be like,
Yeah.
But that got rubbish, absolutely rubbish. Don't play that sort of music when you score a goal. But that Mexico goal music absolutely smashed it. Like it was like mariachi type music come on as he scored, and the crowd went crazy. And like in a World Cup, I think that's reasonable. And obviously most of the time it's da 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 da. And now they're doing Free From Desire now, loads of
Yes.
But yeah, nonetheless, that absolutely smashed it with the Mexico game. South Africa were poor. The referee did some crazy stuff as well. Interestingly, it's interesting. Everyone was like, "Oh, we only had 3 or 4 sendings off in the last World Cup, and we had 3 in the first game." Notice we've only had 1 just now since then. Literally in the last game that's just happened. But like, yeah, and that's why I want to watch Mexico today again, because I'd love to see like what's going to happen again. Because I feel like there'll be a bit of a vibe and an atmosphere to it. What did you think of them before we move on to Canada, who are about to start playing against Qatar?
I thought, like you say, if you're going to start a World Cup and these are the 3 host nations, you can start it with Mexico and you just take a stadium, then yeah, you got to, because I think that sets the scene on a global stage as to what this World Cup could be about. We know there's other things and not all stadiums are going to be like that, but I think in terms of event and atmosphere, then yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it was, I loved it. I thought it was really good. It had everything in it. I thought the referee maybe just tried to maybe make it about himself in a way. Just, yeah, some weird decisions. And like, thankfully, it's not like one of those World Cups gone by where you've seen referees try and impose something, where they're focusing on a particular thing and then everyone follows suit in every game. It's, like you say, we've only had our first one since today, which was quite good. So, yeah, no, it was good, but South Africa were just poor. But it was nice. I think it's nice to see Mexico get onto a good win, just to add to it. So, no, I really enjoyed the game watching it. It was a nice one to start off with. The sending off made it just a bit weird in terms of the undertone, but I don't think anyone could say it changed the result in any way.
Yeah, it didn't change it. No. I think South Africa were struggling, and that's the reason why he got sent off, because it was obviously through on goal. And then the second sending off is a bit of a weird one. Probably is a foul, don't know. Like he kind of throws his arm out. The Mexican sending off is random, because I was like, well, there's about 3 players in between him and a goal, man. Like he's out wide. It's a bit of a weird one. Yeah, very odd. Very, very, very strange decisions, but fair enough. And then Canada, who are about to start playing. I did watch Canada Bosnia last week. That was of the host nations. Obviously, they're the only one that didn't win. I think it'll be interesting to see how they do against Qatar. This is their chance, right? This is the easiest game they're going to play in the group, right? Switzerland have just won and know that they can get another point and be qualified. Probably want to come top. It'll be interesting to see what Canada do against Qatar. If Canada don't beat Qatar, then they're obviously rubbish. But the Bosnia game was like, I feel like that was like host nations have got like that emotion that obviously drags them along. I feel like that was doing that in the Bosnia game, and they achieved a 1-1 draw against a team that just about qualified via the playoffs. And
it was really,
so you kind of
really
makes you think, how good are you?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they perform. They had a lot of the ball. They had a lot of chances. That again, they just looked like a team who were missing a really decent striker.
Yeah, like no cutting edge. No necessarily cutting edge, yeah.
They had loads of shots, loads of chances, but they just, no one was putting it away. So you feared for them in that respect. You thought, oh, this could be where they end up losing goals in the last 10 minutes or something. But they did really well in the end to get the draw. So yeah, but I think they should have enough, hopefully, to beat Qatar, just to keep it interesting. But we'll see. Again, it looks like they got a good crowd, and looking at the screen now.
I don't know where that stadium is, but it looks decent.
Yeah, I'm not sure where today's game is. I did have a look. Oh,
It's like
that's it, a
Vancouver.
second
No,
ago.
Vancouver. I can't remember. But somewhere in America. Edmonton, Vancouver, Toronto. It's about the only place I know.
It says BC Place, wherever that is. No idea. Yeah, Vancouver. Vancouver is
Vancouver.
ready.
There you go.
Yeah.
Decent stadium.
Yeah, it looks amazing, to be fair.
It looks lovely. Look, it reminds me of like one of those German ones.
Yeah,
in
I know what you
2000.
mean, actually. So host nations, they're still in it, obviously. Obviously, 2-1, 1 drew. So we'll see how they carry on in the next round. Next up, we've started talking about this already. Big players turning up, not turning up.
Most of them have.
Most of them have. That's fair to say. We've touched on
Do
Ronaldo.
you know what? Ronaldo hasn't, right? So, yeah, no, we done him. Do you know, I'm going to say something controversial here. I think you could see the difference when Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams came on for Spain the other day. I know they didn't score, and I know Nico Williams had a really bad season with Athletic, because obviously I watch them every week. But yeah, I thought they were better. I was a bit disappointed with some of some of the other guys that kind of were around and didn't so much. Like, you know, Olmo and that let themselves down a little bit. Oyarzabal, I literally had to have a debate with some mates in another WhatsApp chat about the fact that Oyarzabal is a good player, and they were like, "No, he's rubbish," and I was like, "No, he is good. He's just been crap today." Yeah, Spain, they're big players. I thought obviously they only played like 10 minutes or 20 minutes at the end or so, but like I thought Lamine Yamal changed the game. And I thought Williams even like added a bit of a dimension. So it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward. Obviously Mbappe turned up. First half, myself and my son Noah was sat on the sofa going, he's giving the ball away every time he's got it. He's held on for it too long. He's been robbed, blah, 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 blah. And then, second half, when Elise started getting a ball and playing him through, man, it just, like that first goal, come out of nothing. Took it so early as well. No touch, just bang.
Yeah, Elise really, really played well in that second half of that game, and I thought Mbappe then just switched it on and then was like, I'm going to get on this. And like you say, there was the one where he ran at them. I think he didn't score just before we had the turn. He'd done his turn of pace, and it was like, right, he's ready now. He's going to get a goal. Like, it's coming. I think it was just before he got the first goal. I think Spain was an interesting one I did think they looked better with the substitutions. And I think there's a mistake there on their part where they should have just probably started them. They might have not ended up in that position.
That's the thing, though, are they? They're both not. Well, I think Williams might be fit, just out of form. I don't know.
He's carried a lot of injuries this year, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been injured the first half of the season a lot. But he played, I think he played all the way through the end. I think it was playing at the end for Athletic. Just not been out of form. It's been nowhere near as good a season this year, which is why Athletic struggled a little bit. Yeah, obviously Ronaldo didn't turn up. Messi did. Haaland, did you watch Norway?
Yes. Well, I watched the highlights. I didn't watch it live.
Okay, yeah. I watched the highlights too, yeah. I guess he was always going to score in a game like that, I guess. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. That's what I mean.
But yeah, his other stats are really good. He has turned up in that respect. He's done what he needed to do. Messi's scoring. Kane got a couple of goals. Played really well.
Do you know how deep he was coming? Like, I know he comes deep. He was playing like Pirlo at one point. He was literally taking it off the back four and just playing balls forward.
And the difference wasn't it, this time where in the Euros where it was criticised so much because England didn't really know how to play around that in terms of when he comes deep, it was like we were involving him in the build-up play, but then no one knew where to pass the ball afterwards. Whereas this time around, Bellingham, Antony, Madueke even, then they were running behind him and sort of all taking up that space. So yeah, he was really deep. But at least England seemed better set up for it this time round anyway.
Yeah, maybe Tuchel's looked at that and said, that's a way we can hurt people with Kane's movement. And how do you pick up a prolific goal scorer if he's standing on the edge of the opposition's box?
That's it. That is the thing. He's always been one of those strikers who makes a lot of his own goals as well, though, doesn't he? Because he does score a lot of goals on the edge of the area, like, in that sense.
Yeah.
And his header was sublime, like the way he climbed up for that header.
Yes.
No one challenged him.
Mad though that he didn't have anyone marking him. I thought that was the craziest bit. Croatia looked awful at corners. And I know lots of people are like, oh yeah, Arsenal's harambal, but like, what on earth? Why? Surely, I'm talking like if you go back through the annals of time, you're playing England at a major competition, you make sure you mark all of their tall players at corner. He had no one on him.
it's not even that. It's common sense in the sense you've got Rice taking it on that hand, so you know it's an outswinger.
Yeah, he's
And
going to
you've
swing
got
out to the edge of the
Kane
box.
on
You
the
know he's going to run
edge
into
of
it.
the box. Yeah, you only have to look round as a defender and be like, right, you know where this is going. Like, and I think they tried it. Just was it moments before when O'Reilly nearly scored as well? So it was like,
Yes,
and that was an
at the back
outswinger.
post. So I'm saying they were all over the place.
That was a strange one. Bellingham,
Very, very good.
very good.
The
Yeah,
goal, I
really
thought the
good
goal. I mean,
performance.
obviously, I know obviously get carried away because he scored a really good goal. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good.
I thought he played really well. I thought again, there's been talk of do you do Rodgers or Bellingham, but I think it was never going to be in doubt in terms of Bellingham.
Yeah.
He's proved himself at tournaments as well in the past. Like he will turn up and play well,
Yeah.
and he's probably just at that level a bit more consistently than we've seen Rodgers so far.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been around a bit longer in that sense in terms of
Yes,
bigger
of course,
games,
of
and
course.
so I think you expect that. But yeah, no, I think he's played really well. Neymar, we haven't mentioned him.
The cheerleader. I mean, I saw him doing a load of autographs, and Tom Brady was there. I think was it Tom Brady? Someone was there.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
like with their kid and that. Oh my god, Neymar. That's a joke, man. Even the fact that they took Neymar. Like, if you're João Pedro, you must be fuming to have stayed home so that you can just take Neymar to sign flipping autographs. Hendrick sitting on a bench, all these other players just like sitting there watching Brazil stink the place out while Neymar just signs autographs and smiles. Yeah, he didn't do it. I thought Vinicius, his goal was really good. And not just the goal, but did you see when he went down the wing and crossed the ball for Thiago?
Yeah.
I saw
He's playing really
a
well.
meme. I saw a meme, and it's absolutely brilliant. It was like every time Thiago touches the ball, he loses 20 million off of his value. He was awful. It was like, and again, Carlos and I spoke about this when we got together, and we talked about how, you know, we were talking about. I'm assuming you watched your own pod when you weren't on it, but we were
Yes.
talking about people losing like their identity. And how,
Yes.
like, you know, Thiago isn't that traditional sort of like Brazilian forward. It's more like about like stats and sort of like, you know, people play Thiago now because, or he's appealing to someone because he's like ticked the boxes for Brentford in terms of like running stats or, you know,
Yeah.
aerial duels won or something similar like that. And he looked like that. He looked rubbish on the weekend.
He was
It
one of
like-
those statisticians' pick in the sense that, you know, when you're trying to convince the traditional football scouts, you're like, no, he ticks all the boxes, but then you put him in the game with everyone, you're like, oh, he
Yeah.
stands out. Like, yeah, no, I do know what you mean.
competition winner vibes.
Yes, yeah.
Mate, the header. Just that's what I'd do. If Vinicius cut it back to me, that header is what I'd do.
That is brilliant.
Yeah. It's awful, man.
He's got the Make-A-Wish spot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
He's got...
it's like really ill. Played like it was ill.
Brilliant. Speaking of Neymar reminded me of the Adidas advert. It was like, you know, if Adidas are doing an advert beforehand where they've put all the stars in it and they've done it Adidas and he's on the edge of that tournament, it was like that in real life. It was like, oh, he's been predicted, but he's just going to sit on the edge and talk about everyone.
Oh, yeah. Just
Yeah.
watching from afar, yeah.
Yeah. That's the sort of vibe I got. That's what it reminded me of when they cut to him.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like, is that man going to kick a ball in this turn position? Is that he really going to play? I don't think he will. I think he'll be out before he's finished.
Do you know that'd be like one of those sitcom moments when they get knocked out and he comes in the dressing room with his boots and like, am I starting the next game?
Come on,
then?
guys. Yeah.
What do you mean we're out? Yeah, no, that'd be. But it's nice that I think it's early on in a World Cup where you don't always get it in the first games where actually you're seeing a lot of big names actually
Yeah,
do things
step up.
and step up. Yeah, and it's nice that a lot of them are strikers because you know there's a big thing at the minute where there's not really many goal scorers or strikers about. People keep saying it, but actually you've come to the World Cup and all those that are around are scoring. To know I think that's been really good.
No, really good. Yeah.
England, we briefly spoke about them with Kane scoring, Bellingham looking good. 4 goals, Tuchel's influence maybe. They're all the good things. However, there's still some concerns.
You're saying the thing that I was saying, or I was thinking. Both Croatia goals felt avoidable, but a better defence doesn't concede those. Especially the one at half time. It just felt like we were like a little bit all over the place and we concede this goal and it's like, and we mustn't get swept away with the fact that we won a game 4-2, a very difficult game 4-2 and played very well in the second half against a better side. Do you find yourself 2-0 down and unable to come back?
Yeah, it was interesting because both times when Croatia equalised, at no point did I feel the game was gone because of how England were playing. I thought England was still going to win it, which was different. I think in tournaments gone past, if that had happened, especially in the first game, I think England would have either drew it 2-2 or 1-3, just about 1-3-2. However, yeah, those goals were avoidable. What worries me is better teams would take advantage of that defence. And we were making trouble for ourselves. Stones losing the ball a few times, before that happened. Pickford was running out a couple of times. There
was where we come out and just knocked it out for a throw. Off nothing. It was
really weirdly as well.
To someone, and he just knocked it out for a throw, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And they're going to quickly take the throw now. That was weird. Obviously, nothing came of it, luckily, but it was a very odd. It was an odd moment there. Interesting that Gahey didn't start. I was surprised.
That ask you that, yeah. That was interesting.
I wasn't sure. I don't know. I was trying to rack my brains and think back to the qualifiers, but I can't remember whether Konsa started over Gahey. I don't know whether it's Gahey for Konsa or Stones. I think it was Gahey and Konsa in the thing, and then Stones is the one that doesn't start. I don't know.
That's what everyone thought it was going to be, the choice between Konsa and Stones, when they thought Gahey was the one that was always going to be there because he played all the qualifiers. Especially
it could be just rotation, though. Could be just about keeping him fresh and.
Yeah, he's played a lot of games since he went to City as well.
Exactly.
But he's interested
in a title race right to the end.
Yeah, if you don't need to play him, he knows how good he is. He fits it. He plays with the players already. Then it's confidence. But I like it if we are using squad rotation. Do you, with that, then, do you think and thinking about Spain and then bringing on Yamal and Williams, squad wise, and maybe compared to France as well, do England have a bit of an advantage in terms of the players they can bring on in games compared to some of the others?
Not compared to France. Compared to a lot of other teams there, yes, they do have an advantage. Being able to bring, I don't know, I'm sure about Tony, but being able to bring Rashford on was an advantage, right? In fact, Rashford's a very good player that's had a very good season at Barcelona, right? And won the league and scored and been effective in that. And, you've got Morgan Rogers coming on.
Rashford scored a great goal as well. That was
Yeah. So I mean, so you've got guys that are had good seasons, very strong, coming on off the bench, which is great. But then if you think that's why I said not France, because France could bring on Bradley Barcola. Mm-hmm. Or, they might not even start. I actually, when they made the change, they took off, so for context, their first attacking substitute was to take off the guy that won the Ballon d'Or.
Early on as well, really effectively, weren't too late.
And it worked, yeah, that's what I mean. And they were like, oh, okay. So, they got Bradley Barcola coming on. You've even still got Shirky come on, for crying out loud, man. The guy didn't start. Literally been great at Man City this year, didn't start for PSG, or PSG for France. So, I think they're strong. But beyond that, then you start going Spain. I think Spain are better than us still. I think if we played them in a game, they'd probably push us. After that, then you're actually, who's got a consistent team of players that are, I think we're much better than Brazil. Argentina would be an interesting one. Argentina, the jury's out because I'm not saying Algeria they're not mugs, but at the same time, I think they need to be tested a little bit more. Of the big teams, barring Spain, who had an easier game than Argentina? You think, of the teams that you think might win this competition, who played an easier game than Argentina? No one?
No one really, innit?
Yeah. So then you go, were they tested? Is the question you'd ask.
You think, the way I look at it is I think England's strengths are the midfield in how they can hold the ball and play the ball and put it around and play attacking wise. France have a different setup in that they play with more or less two at the back, two sitting in that midfield. But that worries me in that sense. If England were to play France, I think suddenly our midfield, who are used to seeing a lot of the ball, will be working a lot harder. And we've got workhorses in there in Anderson and Rice, don't get me wrong, but I think suddenly you will notice it a bit more, how that game becomes a lot more tricky to then for that transitional play in that sense. I think that's where it'll be hard to play France. And I think France and England both have the same problem. If Mbappe and Kane get injured, I think that's a lot of their game becomes questionable.
And again, I was saying this to my son yesterday when we were watching, or the day we were watching the France game. Everyone forgets that Mbappe broke his nose in Euro 2024. That's probably one of the not the only reason why Spain won it, but that's a significant factor. He didn't play well after that game when he broke his nose at all in that tournament. And if he doesn't break his nose, do they even lose that semi-final to Spain? Like, I think he scored in it, didn't he? He scored their goal, but even then, like, I just don't think he's more of a threat, and Spain don't get to be on the front foot as much. Like, I think it'd be very interesting to see if he stays fit and doesn't get injured. Touch wood. It'd be very interesting to see what happens now in this competition. But yeah, it would be a concern for me if I'm England. But no, we were all right though. I think we played a very good side, like I said, and we played well against a very good side, but we showed a bit of defensive frailty, which is probably consistent with the type of player we have playing at the back for us, who are good, but not necessarily the best. If Canada scored, Canada have scored.
And I guess on that, in terms of the frailties, how the goals were, they're not a huge cause for concern in the sense of there's stuff that we can look at and be like, no, we can tighten that up. We should be able to tighten it up, especially if you think you bring in Gay as well. And we step up a bit. We should be able to work on that. However, I just think there's a lot better attacking teams out there in terms of when we can't get into those latter rounds. I think
could avoid them though, maybe we'll avoid them.
Yeah, we could avoid a lot of them. It's a different England to what we've seen in tournaments gone by in the sense of how we played and how we approached. More attacking, even with the substitutions. Normally if you're 3-2 up, England have traditionally gone more defensive-minded in terms of substitutions, but putting on Rashford, Saka, that was good. It's good to get them minutes and get them run out.
The fact that Saka didn't start shows England's strength.
Yeah, and the confidence as well. Like in terms of being like, well, no matter what, I'll get out of him what I needed. I thought it being critical, he had a really good game. I thought he played really well, but I just think with him, you saw the difference in that final ball, that final moment. Sometimes he got caught in terms of decision. Yeah.
It's always the same with him. It's that, as you say, it's the final ball. Madueke's final delivery is always like, he always makes the wrong decision in that final third.
It's almost, you can see he's caught in two minds all the time. The ball is then always trapped in his feet and he can't, then by the time he's made up his mind, he can't actually get the ball out. But I think, he played really well. He done what we needed him to do in that set. He created the space, he took the ball on and he set up some chances. And I thought he played well. But yes, I think you're right. That does speak about it in terms of it's a good thing that if you're not able to start Saka and still play well. But no, it's nice to see. It's refreshing because it seems to it's working for him at the moment for what he wants of the team. They reacted as well at half time, which was great. Something we've not seen many teams do at a tournament, but it's actually England as well to come out in the second half and play really well. That was refreshing. I won't say it's coming home just yet. There's too much going on, but no, really, really good start from England. Glad to see. Conscious of time, quirks. There's been a lot of quirks in this World Cup. I will start with probably the most controversial. The thing that's really, that's on everyone's. I think it's
controversial if you're going to say the thing that I'm
breaks.
Thinking of. Yeah,
it's
stupid, man. Like, it took about 3 or 4 games before someone said it, but like, I think I watched South Korea against Czech Republic on the first night and was like, it doesn't look hot there. Why are they stopping? And it's quite obvious what they're doing.
Aircon stadiums, and you're having to wait for them to come back as well before the TV companies come back.
Because there's a couple of times where they've been ready to come back, and the rest no, they're not ready yet because it's an advert.
And you can hear the advert.
Joke. Yeah. It's stupid, man. Like Bosnia were furious. They were all over Switzerland, and the rest stopped the game for a hydration break, and they were like, "You've killed the momentum," and it's what it does. It's a bit like the old adage of like where people say, "Oh, if you can get to half time and not concede, you can hold on in a game, or you can maybe get yourself and regroup." And that's what they're doing now for these hydration breaks. People are under pressure and then being like, right, like we've got one at the moment, Canada are all over Qatar, right? In 2 minutes time, they're going to stop for a hydration break and the game might, if Qatar can sort themselves out, might change in terms of the momentum and the flow of the game. And it's stupid. And I know why they've done it. Like, everyone's like, oh, you don't need, FIFA aren't doing it because they think that they're doing it to improve the game. They're doing it because that's what pays money, right? No one's doing it because they think, everyone's like, oh, well, these Americans, they think they're doing it to make money. There's no this will improve the game or this will do this. It's just a simple case of making money.
Money and Americans' attention span.
That's just and I'm not even sure if it's that. I just think it's
It purely is. There's no other driver for it. You know, the heat of the games are no hotter than what any players have played in the leagues. In
Well, it
that
depends.
sense.
It depends on where you are. Like I said, some games, like the Switzerland game, Switzerland-Qatar looked hot. That looked hot. But if you're playing, like you say, if you're playing a game like sort of like later on in the evening and you're indoors as well, some of them, the England game was indoors in an air-conditioned stadium, for crying out loud.
It was like 5 or 6 degrees cooler than it was outside. Where it was,
Yeah.
and it was ridiculously hot outside, and they had said that, but they said inside the ground it wasn't needed in that sense. When you compare it to what was it when they felt really hot, humid, they had some water breaks, but it was on a game by game basis.
Did they? I can't remember that. I don't
Yeah,
remember
and
that.
it was purely because, and they had a lot of water around the ground, just left out around the sidelines. I remember, but it was purely because of they knew what it'd be like. But again, it was on a game by game basis in the sense of
Yeah.
do we think it's needed? They took the decision beforehand, and it was agreed. Because, like you say, the only people winning here, other than the money and the revenue side, is the coaches in the sense of they do
being
get
able to
rein them in.
regroup.
Yeah.
Yeah, and say, right then, well, this is what's hurting us. What do you think of the other one is the bloody walk? I hate the walkout and the standing around that weird arc with the whole team to sing the national anthem. And that's going to sound really old, like an old man that's against modern football or something like that. But, like, I just hate, like, do it properly. Did you see Tuchel having a go at the photographers?
Yeah, I was going to come on to that. Yeah, that picture from the other side is insane. Like it is absolutely insane as to how many there are and how no one's full about this. You can't see a thing. It is. I think it speaks to that need for it to be a spectacle of every event, but it takes it. I think later
Doesn't
down the
need
line,
it. It doesn't need it, Americans. We don't need it to be a spectacle. You want to do that? Fine, do it for your bloody Mega Bowl or whatever it is. Like, you know,
But
do it for.
It takes it away from the final in that sense. Like now, the final is going to look no different to every other game. Like, what do you do differently to make the final look special? Like
Exactly.
that looked like how the Champions League final was set up before the game. Like in that sense, every game now looks like that.
But every game you're doing it for Bosnia against Switzerland, like coming out like it's the greatest game in the history of football. Like chill out.
It's
Absolutely.
weird. Yeah, I can't stand it, to be honest. When I saw it, I think I saw it the day before, they released the plan, and it was like, what? Like, why?
Yeah, I saw that. I think it was a week before they said it, and it was like a weird, all the teams are going to come out and having your subs line up with you, and it's unnecessary. It's very baseball. That's what they're doing baseball. They all line up beforehand and sing God Bless America or something like that. Because I was in Philadelphia when they did that, and it's really weird, man. It's really, really weird. You're just a random league match, and everyone's standing up with their hand on their heart and taking their caps off and that, and you're like, firstly, I don't even know God Bless America. It's a weird song. But, it's just it's very strange. It's very baseball.
We experienced that in the baseball, and I've experienced that at SeaWorld. I think they just bring it out everywhere. And it was like you go to watch the dolphin show or something, or maybe it may have been the orca show, and it's like
God Bless America.
Yeah, they were like, and now we're going to dedicate this to our veterans. So if there's anyone from the armed forces,
they do that.
Veterans,
It's the middle of the show,
and it's like, what? Like we're halfway through. What's going on?
Yeah, God. Yeah, look, hydration break's coming.
Yeah.
Okay, on cue. Yeah, that's weird. Like I said before, goal music. I do like the goal. I like some of the goal music. I love the old the mariachi band style goal music in Mexico. Looking forward to that. It's worth staying up till 3 a.m. to watch that if they score. Is there any other weird stuff? Oh, the ref cam.
Yeah,
Sorry,
ref cam. No, interestingly, Arsenal ladies have asked each player has picked a song. So when they score, their song plays, their particular song plays. But it's very strange. But I think ladies football generally, like the atmosphere is completely, like having been to a few of the Emirates now, the atmosphere is more geared towards that. It's what that is set up in its own entity and everything. So it kind of doesn't look out of place.
I'm going to say it now. I am a fan of ladies football. I went to the Women's World Cup final in 2019. Caveat. But I'm not a fan of A, goal music in domestic football, and B, having different goal music depending on the scorer. That feels very games gone to me. And stop it, ladies football. Stop it, Arsenal ladies. Just do it normally. And what I was thinking of when you said that is, and I didn't want to say it, but that strikes me as having a very, you do that because you've got a sterile atmosphere where you are. Like if you go to rugby, I've been to a few rugby games, and I've been, and it's And listen, I don't think that you should go to a football match and want to kill the opposition fans at all. And I always judge people that stand there and like give it the giving it all that. I think you're an idiot. You're a grown man. You've got work in the morning. The visceral hatred at football brings about a better atmosphere as a result of it. So yeah, in rugby they can sit next to each other and not going to try and kill each other and this, but it makes the atmosphere really stale. So like in rugby, you don't get the high of like, oh my God, there's like, you celebrate when they score, but it's a bit like, oh yeah, great. Do you know what I mean? It's not like in football.
It's amazing. Rugby's, it's strange. Like obviously having been to quite a few England games in rugby, it's interesting in different ways in the crowd. They're very set.
Yeah, sorry, that's not me saying it's not interesting.
No.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean, and I've seen the benefit of it in terms of, I remember going to an England-Italy game and in rugby, and Italy scoring the first try, which is unusual at Twickenham, or used to be, and Italians, there was an Italian family in front of us, and one of them brought his child. He was clearly in his dad's shirt, and the child was about 2, and he's lifted him up, and the family, this guy's in tears. He's lifting his kid up, and all the England fans, and it bought into it, and it was really nice to see, and it's interesting going to see women's rugby. And I think it speaks to women's sport generally in that sense, where they're trying to create their own atmosphere and vibe.
Yes. And not following in the footsteps of the men.
And probably to get more girls coming in is to make it more relatable, because they do the same thing in women's rugby, where there's more music coming in every time a try is scored, and different music, and it's a part of the atmosphere. And it's really, I think footballers are trying to take it from that, because they've seen how quickly the women's game has grown in rugby, and it's helped because you've had world champions at the same time as what England are, and England football are doing. I think so they're trying to share things. But yeah, no, I do. I couldn't see it in men's football. I just don't think it's there because they're different entities in that sense, and they've got different.
Yes. They're different sports. They're same rules, but different sports. Oh,
2-0.
Ref cam.
Yes.
Like the one thing I will say is it's less dizzying than Premier League ref cam, because Premier League ref cam is on your chest, and I always find it like if I had a drink and I was watching a Premier League game like the next day, like a bit hungover, I think I'd throw up watching it if they showed ref cam, because it's really, really like, it's a bit disorientated and jerky and stuff. And this one seems a bit more smooth, but they use it a lot more, don't they? In this one, you see it loads in the game.
Everyone's wearing one as well. That's the difference, isn't there? Yeah, and you see it in the game. I think that's where.
Whenever someone has a chance, you always see like a ref cam view of it or whatever. Like,
yeah, and I think maybe it's probably a thing where US sports is more set up for things like that, to cut out of it, where they like.
Do you know what interesting? Like, I mean, I don't know whether they. Probably because they don't speak English, I suppose. But you know what I really like about ref cam in the Premier League is when you actually get to hear the ref talking to the players.
Yes,
it's really cool. When
I like that too.
Number 5, that's not a foul. That's not a foul. I'm going to give a goal kick, and it's like, I'm going to recommend a goal for number 11. Like, and it's like, just even hearing all of that dialogue, you never see it or hear. Like, do you know what I mean? You never hear it, and you hear the referee. Like, I've seen referees be like, "Oh, great play." And you love stuff like that. You love to see, do you know what I mean, the human side of it, and the referee actually appreciating like a good move in front of him. He's seen he's seen the best players in the world play in front of him. We can still like appreciate that someone's played a good ball or something. I think that's pretty cool. And like hearing the referee justify, because I've only refed like under 9s games and under games, but like, it's hard, right? And you get a real respect for them when you see them doing it really quickly with conviction, explaining their decisions, like picking up on things that you don't really like, that are happening. Do you know what I realised, or I found out the other day, probably about a couple of months ago, and I don't know whether I've said it here. So, and I don't know whether even this is still a thing that happens. Do you know? So like both linesmen stand at left back, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know the referee most times will try and run, that's penalty to Canada, Qatar are having a mare here. The referee will run diagonally. The intention is that the referee runs diagonally to cover the 2 quarters of the pitch that the linesman isn't in.
Yeah, right, okay.
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
And I think, obviously, like if the ball goes right in the corner, the referee will come over there, but he'll try and run diagonally is what I've read. To kind of cover the bits where the linesman isn't there, and then use the linesman in the bits that are
we fit there.
Where he's not as close.
Yeah. No, it makes
didn't realise
sense
that.
when you said no.
Yeah, did not realise that.
never known that. I think one of the things
And I don't even know
about-
if it's still a thing they do, but it was definitely there was like a refereeing technique. I was listening to a pod and they were talking about it, and it was saying there's an established technique that a referee introduced, like a pioneer of refereeing.
Yeah.
And then it was like running diagonally from between the two, and I was like, oh my god, that makes complete sense. So yeah.
No, it makes complete sense. I think one of the things I appreciate about it is it's such a thing. It's called the diagonal system of control.
Yeah, it's a thing. As I said, it's like, yeah.
One of the things I do appreciate about a ref cam is you're hearing the conversations, as you say. The first name basis is quite funny to hear.
Yeah.
But also the fact of how out of breath they are. And I mean that in a compliment, in the sense of you do
They're not.
get an appreciation of how much they're covering,
they
they're
are.
having to cover ground.
Yeah. You'll see a ref run like the length of the pitch and then have a proper conversation with. If I ran the length of the pitch to tell, like, you know, I don't know, like
My
Bruno
hands are on my
Fernandes
knees.
that it's a dive.
Give me a minute.
You're like, yeah.
I've got no time
Give
to
me a
blow
sec.
the whistle.
Oh god,
Just-
Qatar imploding here. Foul
in the
outside the
arc.
penalty area. Sending off. You're done. You are done. You got away with it against Switzerland. You're not going to get anything here. Yeah, and yeah, like the ref cam is interesting. And tied into that, I know I put it in the notes. So I was just going to talk about like, I know I talk about this every World Cup. ITV versus BBC, and it's a real interesting one, right? Because obviously, ITV, there are some things about ITV that are really shit, right? Like I don't mean to be horrible. Emma Hayes putting out a blackboard in the middle of a game is just random and not needed. The random referee that's talking now, Christine Uncle, sometimes I don't think she offers much in terms of thing. And by the way, that's not me hating on women. I know I've picked out 2 women there, guys.
I think it's I think I know what you mean. It's the way she does it. There's other referees who do it and do it differently. Like as much as Mark Clattenburg, I think.
Like is it Graham Powell as well? Does it sometimes?
Yeah.
BT Sport has them.
They're quite
And,
engaging.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not me. Like I said, I probably come across like a misogynist. I'm not a misogynist, guys. It's nothing to do with the fact that it's a lady. It just doesn't come across very well with that Christina Uncle. And Emma Hayes is brilliant, by the way. I just don't think that she needs to pull out a blackboard in a little mini screen in the middle of a game and be like, yeah, this is what they're trying to do. Like, I don't need, just explain it to me. I don't need you to put it right on a blackboard. ITV, as always, are absolutely killing BBC on the opening credits. Their opening credits are much better than BBC's. They've been better than BBC's. And this is a random. The last BBC good opening credits they had was for Euro 2004, right? Good Luck by Basement Jaxx. Euro 2004 with like Nedved and stuff in it. That's the last time they had a good opening credits. And you can look that up at home and here. You'll probably look. It's really cool. Other than that, they ain't had good opening credits for years. And
They've
the
gone a lot on
ITV
the
kill 'em
animation
every
side
year.
since, haven't they? Like,
You think they had, right? So they had Brazil. Do you remember that? That was a wicked song. They had Sing Sing Africa, Sing Sing, and for chat, that ITV absolutely. And this year they're killing BBC. BBC feels really stale. Like it feels a bit like, but it doesn't have adverts in it, which is a major thing. But ITV's got better pundits as well. Like I love listening to Righty and that. Like Righty, Roy Keane, all of those guys are brilliant.
ITV were really smart in the sense of they've always had Keane and Neville and Righty, and I think Neville was smart in then using that to form the basis of his podcast.
Yes.
And
yes,
then
yes.
ITV have been smart enough to go, we want this
Yes.
for the thing, and we want them together. Like, and it shows because what you get from that is they've already got buy-in for externally, so people want to see them together. But their socials outside of the TV make then people want to watch them on ITV, because you see in the Gary Neville, Roy Keane, and Andy and Wright are all on Instagram. They're all posting stories with each other and stories, and it's leading into the things. Like I think Gary Neville showed, it was very tactful, showed what the ITV studio looked like before the first game. I think earlier that day, and I think it was just the start of that. But yeah, no, I agree. They are killing them in terms of punditry in that sense. I think.
Did you see the Gale? Did you see the Gale they were in?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's funny.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Laura Woods' hair was like in her face like that. And I was like, guys, go inside, man. Yeah,
They went down, didn't they? They went downstairs, didn't they? What was the other thing I was thinking of? The Emma Hayes thing. It's interesting. I think ITV have tried to think they're trying to be unique in the sense of how can we use this hydration break?
And you've got a very good footballing brain there. So you're like, how can we use her to do that? But I just don't think that works.
I think, yeah, and one thing I did like about it is the sense of people think the way they've done it, yeah, it isn't needed in terms of a blackboard and stuff, but think people need to appreciate she's able to explain in 2-3 minutes what some pundits take an hour to do on Monday Night Football.
Yeah. Like, I mean, she's a really good pundit.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I think it gets lost. But no, I think, yeah, is there a need for it? I saw someone comment today. I think I mentioned it to Hugh, our friend Hugh. Someone complained that they've put her in a kitchen, and it was like, I think you've misled the studio. You're seeing the kitchen.
Actually, this
they've
is a
given
real
her a
thing.
blackboard
Someone
and
did
put
that.
her in the kitchen.
Wow. God.
I don't think ITV have chosen to put her in the kitchen, and I don't think Emma Haynes is the sort of person to stand for something like that. I think that's not fair.
No,
on
I don't
her.
think she would. Good. But like, no, yeah.
Do you think the BBC are missing Lineker?
Yes, I think they are. And on the podcast thing, obviously you have Lineker, Shearer, Micah, which would be the combo there. Obviously, Lineker would be the front man and probably wouldn't do as much as he does on the podcast. He's a lot more outspoken on the podcast. But maybe they are missing him a bit. He was very good. But,
It's
BBC
interesting.
it just feels a bit tired. I don't know. Like, it doesn't
Flat,
feel like
yeah.
It feels like I'm still watching something like 20 years ago when I watched the BBC. Whereas when I watch ITV, I feel like I'm watching something that is made now.
Relatable, fresh. Yeah,
Exactly.
It definitely does feel that way. I think you're right. I think the BBC punditry, yeah, it is a bit flat. It is a bit. Yeah, I think you know what you're getting with it in that sense. It feels very TV licensey in that sense. Like, I don't know how else to describe
exactly.
it.
Terry Wogan's going to come on and do Auntie's Bloomers afterwards. Yeah, that was Auntie's Bloomers. Yeah, points of view. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is strange. The only thing, and then you got Gary Lineker's got the rest of football on Netflix each day. Yes.
The only thing that's frustrating, I think, about that and upsetting for them is that they can't show any clips. It's all pictures because they haven't got any rights. And I think that
like Sky.
Yeah,
like,
that makes
I go
it
to
a bit
work.
of a letdown.
I go to work and I see every day. We've always got Sky Sports News on somewhere, like at work, and there will just be a still of like Mbappe having a shot, and you know that the goal came from it, and they can't do anything about it. It's so funny, and we just got to talk about it. We just pretend that we're in. Like, it's like, don't worry about it. Just show the Test match. England are playing New Zealand. Show that.
Yeah, it is funny. You do think that they're missing that on that show, and Gary Lineker's obviously very good at what he does, and so he's able to talk around it. However, it's interesting them trying to find. It's really, I think some people have criticised it and saying, has it transferred well to the Netflix show? But actually, I think a lot of it is we're so used to seeing BBC Gary Lineker. It's very hard.
He's a lot more informal, isn't he?
He's got a glass of wine in front of him. I think in the first episode he swore on it, and even I was a bit like, oh, it's funny seeing him swear, even though I listened to the podcast. In that sense, I think it's the familiarity of that, and I mean, they've all had a bit of a drink on that show, which is funny as well. I think adds to it, and you can definitely get that sense from some of them as well. Joe Cole was playing darts and was absolutely wasted.
I've not seen it.
Day. And he even says it. He's like, I'm wasted. I've had like 2-3 glasses of wine. You're asking me to throw darts and run it aboard. But no, it's an interesting show. I think the breakdown and the talking is good on it. And I think even then, their punditry, even without the football and doing live shows, is outshining BBC in that sense. You know, it's becoming the counterpart for the World Cup in that sense. Yeah, I think BBC. If you had to choose one, I think you're going to say the same. I'm choosing ITV at the minute.
I'm choosing ITV, even with the adverts. I'm choosing ITV, which is mad. Yeah.
When we discussed this earlier, I said we agreed. Obviously, this podcast is called Meanwhile in Andorra. It's another World Cup without Andorra. So, meanwhile in Andorra, what do we think's going on? I've had a quick look up on the internet to see what's going on. I don't know if you've had a chance
to. They had a friendly the other day, didn't they? Win a friendly in the eve of the tournament, I think. Yeah.
And
what is happening in Andorra?
What is happening in Andorra? They're trying to boost tourism, trying to promote themselves as not just a skiing destination, but rather an all-round.
All it is mountains, no? Like mountains just off Spain. That's all I know about Andorra.
Well, I think that's it now. They're trying to promote themselves as a premium mountain destination. I don't know what that means in terms of we're not just a ski resort. I think it's come and explore us when the snow's not there. So yeah, they're forcing that. They recently took part of a presidency of the Council of Europe's North-South Centre Executive Committee. And I was like, that sounds boring and I don't know what that is.
Glad you said it.
Yeah.
No, it's not. They're not taking advantage of the fact that there's a World Cup on.
No, it didn't. It didn't look like it's getting much coverage. However, I think, in the sense of what we have seen at this World Cup so far, the 8-team era, there is space for Andorra in the future, and I don't think
Maybe.
they could. They won't necessarily embarrass themselves if they can take notice of any of the other lesser countries that have come, or
I'm not
smaller
sure,
countries, I
man.
should say.
Do you know what would be good to watch? Because they're talking about 64 teams. Everyone keeps saying it, and I'm like, I don't know. But what would be really good to watch would be like an Andorra Curacao game, much like when I was watching the qualifiers and I watched Bermuda Trinidad. And I properly watched Bermuda Trinidad in the qualifiers. It'd be really cool to watch it on a like I always talk about this, right? Like, so the World Cup, if you think, like, so at the moment Canada are playing Qatar. It's a mental game, by the way. Like, there's a man, they're down to 10. It's crazy. Everyone's really annoyed. The rest like getting harassed every 5 minutes. Canada are crying for penalties every 30 seconds. And this is the only time that us, you, me, the rest of the world is going to care and be given access to a competitive game between Canada and Qatar. Unless they get drawn together in another World Cup, and it's very unlikely because they don't qualify every time, and because, they probably won't get the same group and all this other stuff. This might be the only time that the world, unless like the world does it in like 100 years' time, watches Canada versus Qatar. And I say this all the time. This is one of the things that makes the world, the group stages in the World Cup really interesting, is you see games that you would never, like Germany will never play Curacao again. And if they do, it'll be in a friendly and no one will care. They played in a game that was televised live on terrestrial TV in the UK, and the whole country, everyone who likes football in the country watched it. That is a mad, do you know what I mean? That the concept of that, I find, is like, and it changes everything about it. Because you put, like, if you think, even though it was Curacao, every German player wanted to play that game. Every German player wanted to score in that game. If they played a friendly against Curacao, there'd be people being like, I'm pulling out because my club have said that actually they don't want me to play, or I can only play half the game, or I actually don't care because it's just a meaningless friendly. They probably wouldn't beat them 7-1. Do you know what I mean? It's a very different dynamic. So it's what makes the World Cup so unique, is that you have these games of football between teams that would never play each other again, where there are so many stakes on the line, and the whole country is invested in getting the best result from that game.
Well, you think about it in that respect, as you say, using Curacao as an example. Their population is 158,000. 23 million tuned in to watch that game. That's mental. Like when you think of it, like, and Andorra have a tougher entry route because they're part of the European qualifying campaign, and there's a lot more countries involved, and it's harder to sort of for them to get their space. But if they did, the kind of games that you will see, you won't ever see again. Andorra will play a lot of good European teams just in qualifying naturally and friendlies and stuff, just because the way it works out, because of where they are. But everywhere else, I think, the other countries are taking advantage of that. You will never see Andorra play the USA and things like that in those games.
Yes, exactly.
Like Andorra, New Zealand. So if they can get there and get a game like that and be televised, it suddenly does. It puts them on the map, definitely. And there's probably a lot to be said in terms of fringe players, in terms of a lot more advertising, in terms of those people who do have dual nationality as well. If you see them when you're younger in a World Cup, you might then think, oh, actually, they've got there once. I've probably got more of a chance to help them get there again than I have got to play for England or Germany or someone there.
Yeah, exactly.
So in terms of what else is going on in Andorra, there isn't much really. So Andorra, message for if you're living in Andorra, listening from Andorra, I think as much as you may not want to see it, I think you're better off tuning in, watching the World Cup. Seeing what could be, and rather than concentrating on this committee.
Yeah.
We've covered quite a lot in today's pod.
Yeah, we have.
I
said to you a quick half an hour one, and it's an hour and a half. We should probably wrap up given that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be great. So thanks everyone for listening. Raw should be fine with me.
But yeah, thanks again, Ricky.